Thank you, Rachel, for that introduction. We are actually really excited for you to get your floor lamp. We'll be waiting patiently. Good morning, Airspace LA. I'm so excited to be here. Let's go, yeah. My name is Bliss Pierce. I'm the Director of E-commerce at Rejuvenation, a Williams-Sonoma Inc. company. So my role covers everything from site merchandising, the front end, site operations on the back end, and product launch, which is actually what we're going to talk about today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Mangaramas, and I'm a copywriter at Rejuvenation. I cover all the copy on rejuvenation.com as well as the brand's marketing channels.
So our story, Nicole and I are so excited, our story about bringing in our launch ecosystem into Airtable really helped us unlock agentic AI for copywriting, right? It's a unique story, but one of the things that I think is really important about this space that we're in is we have builders in the room. We actually got an opportunity last night to have dinner with a couple of builders from Airbnb, and we were just swapping stories and sharing our insights on what we're building, what challenges we're facing, how we're overcoming those. And one of the through lines that I know a lot of you also share is Airtable allows us to bring disparate pieces of information into one cohesive system so that we can unlock efficiency. That's the story you're going to hear today. For a lot of you builders already on the journey, it's a story that's going to resonate. So I hope you see yourself in our story. For people who are starting on their journey, I hope you're encouraged to either start or keep going. We'll hear more about that later, because that is the story that we all have. And so I'm really excited to share ours and also hear from you. So before we get started into our launch process, I need to level set on what Rejuvenation is. So Rejuvenation is a part of a larger, a $7 billion Williams-Sonoma Inc. company that's home to 10 brands for home furnishings. So some of your favorites that you know are Pottery Barn, West Elm, obviously our namesake Williams-Sonoma, and then our newest brand that just launched 2 weeks ago, Dormify, that actually brings a curated assortment right to college campuses. So Rejuvenation is positioned a little different from all of those. We are a high-end brand that really is around customized, timeless design, built, made to last, heirloom quality solid brass. This image right here, I think, does a really, really great job of showing how our design comes to life for the customer. So anytime you see like gold finishes in this image, that's our product. So that custom pendant light there, the wall sconces here, the faucet, the hardware, even that doorknob in the corner and those gallery rails, that's all our product. And customers come to us because they want bespoke design that they can usually only get at a design house made for them so that their home feels like theirs. It's personal, it's ownable. All that customization just means a lot of choice. And so we're going to actually talk about how that comes to life through the lens of one particular product, the Christoph pendant. So this beautiful pendant was launched in February. What you see on this page is this glass shade, this ornate unlacquered brass finish, that's the gold part, these fitters that are also finished in that unlacquered brass, stunning. That's what you can see. What you don't see is that this one pendant has over 1,500 configurations possible. Shade choice, finish choice, custom cut to the inch from 12 to 140 inches. Lots of customization that has to end up right here. This is how our customers engage with our brand. Most of our customers land right on the product detail page. This is our PDP. For those of you in retail, you know this page well. All of this content has to come together right here on this PDP. From the imagery to the product name to all of the selection points, they have to merge and converge in this space. Because when you're talking about a high-end custom product, you have to build confidence in what you're having on the page. When you custom cut a pendant, you can't return that. So we need to make sure that the product specs are right, and we have to do that at scale. Airtable helped us unlock that, and we'll talk about how that happened. So anatomy of our launch, again, everything from the beginning prep stage to the end review is all done in Airtable for us. So on the prep stage, all of our SKU level data, so all of the customization and all of the options are actually flown into submitted into our Airtable base, and that product data at the SKU level is assigned to a PDP page. That prep step helps us unlock this generate step where we have AI agents in Airtable that generate all the copy that you saw on that page. That's the story that Nicole is going to take you through in more detail. And then finally, review. We keep humans in the loop. I love that Howie mentioned that. This is a really, really important step. So our copywriters actually edit the copy generated by our AI agents, and also we do all of our QA processes in Airtable so that there's a consistent cycle to send out that information to the right team so that they can review before that product goes live, make the edits, and then send it back to create that custom loop, and then it's completely done before it goes live. Because what we were doing is this secret step called fast follow, where we would launch a product, it wouldn't be perfect because a SKU was missing or the finish wasn't right, and we would have to fix it after it was live. We wanted to get out of that habit and make sure that things launched the right way the first time, so we wouldn't have to go back and correct it. Why did we do all of this? There was a lot of conversation, and I know our builder team at Warner also shared this, like, how do you get people excited about AI? Because there is some hesitation and fear. One of the things that I like to do personally is I like to start with what you hate to do. Tell me something that you don't want to do anymore, that's tedious, time-consuming. PDP copy was perfect for that, not only because it was tedious and time-consuming for our team, but because it was also formulaic in nature. When we think about copywriting, that's a creative endeavor, but what PDP copy is taking product specs, dimensions, materials, and just formatting it for that product page in a systematic way created with our style guide. That wasn't necessarily time well spent for our 2 copywriters. This context matters. We have 2 copywriters for our entire brand at Rejuvenation. They aren't just working on PDP copy. They're working on email sends, social media, retail signage, campaign copy, a lot. And so they needed to actually spend their time working on projects that actually needed that human touch. And this allowed them to do that. The other piece of context that's really important here is Rejuvenation is a fast-growing brand. We just delivered 8 consecutive quarters of double-digit comp growth. We want to grow that top line while also protecting that bottom line. And what top-line growth means is we continue to scale. That Christoph pendant launched with 600 other products. And as every quarter, we're launching that much. And so when we're thinking about how we scale that with 2 copywriters, we saw PDP copy and they said, take that off of our plate, because we actually need time to tell the brand stories that are so important. And so it was a perfect opportunity. But first, we needed to clean up, get our house in order. And I already talked about how our launch process is completely in Airtable, but I want to talk about why that helped us unlock AI copy. So first, what you already know is the relational database. So being able to have that SKU information synced to the PDP, we were able to unlock and understand when SKUs weren't matching to a PDP. We were able to build that product page early and see what information was missing, what we might want to also, what kind of PDP we wanted. So if we wanted a simple PIP versus a guided PIP, we had all of that pre-built. The other thing it unlocked for us is content. So on a custom product like Christoph pendant, you have finishes, you have custom cut to the inch, all of this that the customer has to decide on this non-returnable product. So we have guides like finish buying guides and, pendant buying guides, lighting buying guides, measuring guides to help a customer understand how that product comes to life, to really provide confidence for them. And before, those kinds of things were being missed at launch, and they were part of that fast follow that we would do later. But making sure that it's launched the right way, the right time, we can have tables for SKUs, we have tables for the PDP, they're linked, and we have tables for product content that actually connects. If it's a category, if it's a pendant, we know that it gets these guides on that page, so it's launched the right way every single time. The other piece is visibility for every launch. This one was game changer for us. Before we got our Airtable ecosystem into our launch base, we would have disparate spreadsheets, one-off Teams threads, emails that you hoped you got, or hallway conversations where it's like, oh, that product dropped, or oh, that got pushed, or Oh, we actually added a new shade to that, so now there's a whole bunch of other configurations. You would hope you get the right message to the right team, everywhere from photo to marketing to email, and even my team on DTC. So we never had a single source of truth, and now we do, and the entire process is set up in Airtable. And all of that clean relational data, single source of truth, really unlocks this AI-ready structure. Because AI does not like to work in mess, so it loves clean data, and bringing our process completely into Airtable allowed us to unlock that. And Nicole is going to actually take you through what that looks like.
All right, yeah. So I am so excited to share how we supported our product launches on the copy side and how we were able to integrate this new process with the help of Airtable. I've been on this project for almost a year now, and we've already learned so much about how this works. And we're going to walk through this journey of not just how we onboarded this new feature, but also how my team accidentally became AI content strategists. So here we're looking at our Airtable base where we can view all of our products at the SKU level. So again, we're creating this one source of truth where we can click into a record and see every related detail, every related spec that is connected to this product. I don't know about you guys, I'm not a spreadsheets person. Like, I cannot do a spreadsheet. I got into copywriting, so I don't have to look at spreadsheets all day. But I love Airtable. The cleanliness of this interface completely changed the way that I was able to interact with the information on the creative side, and it made things so much easier for our setup moving forward. All right. So once we established our product ecosystem, the second phase was honing in on our style guide. And obviously, we know it's important to weave that brand messaging into every customer touch point. So getting our style guide operationalized was a huge unlock for making sure our agents could scale. And we're a high-value brand, and we wanted our messaging to reflect that. Of course, we have our practical guidelines like character count, length, grammar, spelling. But we're not just making AI slop here. We need our agents to operate at a higher level. We want them to feel polished, inviting, and we want them to carry design authority, just like how you'd want to feel when you walk into a beautiful designer home. That's the mood we're setting here. So this is more than flavor text that we're generating. We're trying to instill confidence in our customer. We want to project our expertise, and we're telling our brand story on every single product page. So right around the time that we adopted Airtable for our product launches, we were already reworking our internal style guide. That timing was so serendipitous. So we were able to immediately pivot and start shaping the style guide with agents in mind. And I'm going to shout out my junior copywriter, Kate. She's not here today, but she deserves the credit. She was a huge part in identifying the key building blocks that we needed for this new style guide. So those were, one, language libraries that were organized by product division, so preset lines of copy that we just needed to slot into those bullets in every section. And then the second were examples of product copy that accurately met the brand standards. So with these two things, we were building the agent sphere of context. We're giving it a resource that it can pull copy directly from, but also base the rest of its language around. So these new guides, we wrote them to speak directly to both human and AI agents with separate specs for each copy type. So let's get into those copy types. These are the clear guardrails we already had in place when we were embarking on this. This is how our product page is set up. We've got our romance copy. This is our evocative brand storytelling section. We have our details you'll appreciate for bite-sized selling points and functional features. And then we have our product bullets for our very important specs and materials. Again, like Bliss mentioned, this is the back of the cereal box. These are the nutritional facts for your product. So each type is broken out with its own style guide, its own prompt, and also its own agent. So again, we're building that sphere of context, but we're also refining our outputs by breaking these out. All right, so here we're jumping into our style guide base, and this is where we place all of our guides that we have for each division. So for us, that's lighting, utility, bath, hardware, furniture. And then we also have a general style guide that everything ladders back up to. So what we'll do is we'll upload that Word doc into Airtable, and here we're setting up for a super important agent. This is an agent that will synthesize the information and refine it even further for agentic use, because who knows what AI needs better than AI? So this synthesizer will pull out all of the examples, rules, and formatting to provide a higher quality and consistency downstream. And then, of course, this field gets pulled into our product copy table, and then we'll find all of the linked records in a separate field there too. So we established our first working agent system. Next, we moved on to the third phase, which was scaling. So what we did was we tested our prompts on select products that were already live on site. We actually tested one lamp on 5 different agents just to get a feel for how the agents were interacting with our prompt, how they interpreted it, and we would compare those outputs to what my team and I had already written for that product. So we used Omni to build the initial table to do that. So this is how, through this testing, this is how we realized that we got better results when we provided distilled guidance by those copy types, the romance, details, and product spec. And it's also when we figured out which agent models worked best with our prompts. So we landed on Claude and ChatGPT. So only a couple weeks after that, we were able to launch with 100% AI-generated product copy. And that was a huge win for our team. So far, we've treated every quarter launch like a test run. We pay attention to what worked and what didn't, and every time we will fine-tune our prompts, we'll reevaluate all of our fields just to make sure they're still interacting the way we need them to, see if they're relevant still or not. And then we'll make adjustments even to our internal processes so that we, on the human side, can become more efficient with the way that we're providing this AI with their information. So typically across the field, we've seen that 95% of AI pilots will fail. And that could be for any number of reasons. But I do believe that this consistent iteration was the key to how we became the 5% that succeeded. Over the last 3 quarters, we haven't even made it to the full year yet, 3 quarters, my junior copywriter, Kate, and I evolved into the AI content experts that we needed to be. We were investing time into establishing this solid process that ultimately will save us time in the future. And you know, we just really needed to make it work. Because like Bliss said earlier, we are a 2-person team. So we are spread thin with constant deliverables across all of our marketing channels. We also are a huge part in planning all of our marketing campaigns every quarter. So when you're a brand that's experiencing as much growth as we are, every customer touch point feels high stakes. So we had the motivation to take on this pilot, not just to save ourselves time, but to truly give the product copy the attention it deserved. So now we're going to see where the magic happens. This is our table where we generate all of the product copy for the product page. So we're going to look at our favorite Christoph Light, and for all of these products, we'll pull in example copy for the category, the overall brand voice instructions, the prompt context for the whole page, and then also the instructions specifically for that copy type. So for this, we're looking at romance copy. So we'll run the Claude and ChatGPT models so that we get more variety with our outputs. And we'll review both, pick our favorite, pull it over into another field, and make our last-minute human edits. And then that becomes our approved copy. We also pull in notes that are pertinent to that particular product. So for the Christoph, we had design notes about the inspiration of the period that it was based on, and the visual notes. So all of that gets pulled in so the agent understands exactly what the product is that it's going to be speaking for. We do this also for the details you'll appreciate and the product spec sections as well. And then lastly, we have this new feature that we are now implementing, which is AI evaluating AI. So preface that this is a work in progress, and there's a lot of fine-tuning we're working on, but we're really excited to onboard this feature. One reason being, we do have such a large volume of copy every quarter. We're launching hundreds of products every quarter. And we have so many criteria to make sure that it's all correct and it's on brand. And I know everyone's familiar with AI's desire to hallucinate, make things up, and we definitely don't want it to do that. We have standards. So these AI agents are supposed to help us find those inconsistencies and catch them early on so that when we reach our user acceptance testing phase, everything goes much smoother and all of our partners can see that we've fully vetted all of the information that's here. So yeah, this is where we're prompting the agent. And we do break these out again by those copy types. So we have one that evaluates our romance copy, evaluates our details you'll appreciate, our product spec, and then we also have an agent to assess our harmful risks to catch any regulatory or standards risks in our copy. All right, so once each agent has been edited and finalized, it gets automatically pulled into this formula field, and our site team was so excited when we were able to unlock this. What it does is pull all of that approved copy and then just layer in the HTML on top so that our site team can simply pull that over onto the site side. They don't have to mess with copy pasting a bunch of different fields, manually layering the coding. It's all ready for them, and then it gets pushed live to site. And this is our beautiful product page with all of our different copy sections paired with all of our wonderful imagery, and it's ready to shop.
Thank you so much, Nicole. What she won't say, so I will say it for her, is we unlocked in Nicole, I want to say, a prompt engineer out of this process. We basically got together in an 8-week sprint with Nicole and her junior copywriter, and we met every week. We divided and conquered, and we worked that thing. And that's when I say, like, we're always iterating this process. We are doing the work on the ground. We don't have a lot of tech support in this kind of way, and we knew that we needed it. And so really, shout out to Nicole and Kate for making this happen for themselves and continuing to iterate on it. Because this was the impact. We needed to free up more time for them. So 46 hours that they were spending every quarter on P2P copy. So that's over a week of time that they were spending doing this before. Now, Nicole will be the first to say they didn't save all of that time, right? They still have to edit the copy, but it's so much more time back so that, because AI is generating that. And that time that they're saving, now the campaign is not on the back burner anymore. They can actually move that to the forefront and spend their time doing the things and pivoting on brand messaging and storytelling. And then the final thing that I'll say is that before, again, reiterating, we were copy and pasting at the SKU level. We were trying to make sure that every SKU was assigned to a group ID, which ended up being the PDP. We would miss things before. And now we actually have a QA layer built in that catches any issues. If someone copied something wrong, if someone put a text field in a number field, or vice versa, we have a QA layer that catches that now, which kind of leads me to the what's next. So we know we can always make this process better. What we're working on right now is actually getting a vendor portal where the vendors put that product information directly into Airtable. So what we have now is our vendors give us an Excel, and we import that Excel into Airtable and then do the QA. If we have our vendors directly putting it in a portal, the actual cells will default to, this is a text-only cell, this is a number cell, and the QA layer is actually built in, so it flags to the vendors, hey, it seems like you put in a length when you meant to be with. So it actually checks that information based on the product type that it has. So we're actually rolling that out, and we're piloting this quarter, and we're really excited about that because it'll help make sure the data is even more clean when it comes in. And then the last part, which is one of the most exciting parts, Rejuvenation is a small but growing brand inside Williams-Sonoma Inc., so we don't always get the chance to show up our bigger siblings, and this was a chance for us to do that. When you're a smaller team or a smaller brand, you're used to waiting on the bigger brands to be like, okay, here's the thing. We have done so many roadshows with this process. Now, Pottery Bar and West Elm, they're clamoring for this product. And so we've been really, really helping them explore what it is like to scale this across all WSI brands. We are so grateful that we got a chance to share our story with you all. We are excited to talk more with you. You'll probably see us at the Build-a-thon because we're competitive, but we're also excited to hear your story. So thank you so much.